Right, straight into what is the personal data economy. A little bit of background here. Essentially, the migration to digital has been both transformative and empowering. It's completely changed the way in which we interact with one another, in which we spend money, in which we date, in which we consume entertainment, in which we access information. You've now got, for example, more than 1.2 billion individuals worldwide who together have spent something like 2.7 trillion per annum on digital and physical goods per annum. You've got something of the order of 5.7 billion consumer devices, smartphones, feature phones, tablets, laptops, PCs, together accessing the internet per annum. But the more time we spend on digital engagement, the more we interact online, the more data we generate. So you're effectively informing people how old you are, where you shop, where you browse, what your preferences are, your social preferences, your cultural preferences, even your sexual preferences. So there's an increasing amount of concern about who has access to this data, how it's stored, how secure it is, and that's been exacerbated by high-profile data breaches. But really, what the personal data economy does is that allows individuals to take ownership of that personal data and to share it with third parties on their terms. Now, that's really picking up and running with the ideas of a guy called Doc Searles, who argued that the balance of power had gone away from consumers towards suppliers. And he proposed a rebalance which allowed consumers to notify enterprises of what they wanted. And that in turn spawned the concept of the personal data locker. Now, at the present time, most of the data, our data is stored in individual silos, your banking information, your health information. And really what this proposes is that you have your own personal space, right? So where you can then offer that information to the third parties on your terms. Now, at the minute, as a consumer, you've got the storage space with your smartphone and maybe your Dropbox account. You've got the bandwidth. But what you need is an intermediary to facilitate the sharing and monetization of this data. And this is what the PIMS, the Personal Information Management Services, can enable. These are digital platforms to enable people to accrue and trade data about themselves, and companies like Cozy, like Miko, like DigiMe, and we've got the founders or co-founders of these particular companies coming on after me. Now, if we just move to the next slide, what we're seeing in this space, or in terms of access to the regulation of personal data, a lot of governments are looking at this from a variety of standpoints, really. Now, this regulation, for example, you've got the GDPR, which is coming in 2018, which is requiring transparency of data collection, breach notification, right to access. You've got the PSD2, which is opening up the banking infrastructure to third parties. You've got the EIDAS, which means that public services in any EU country must accept citizens and business native electronic ID schemes. You can view this as a problem, but it's equally valid to view it as an opportunity to revisit data strategies, a means to meet compliance demands whilst restarting or enriching your relationship with the consumers. Now, what our white paper does, amongst other things, it explores various opportunities for the personal data economies. Now, I'm conscious of time, so I won't go into this in too much detail, but just to give you a couple of ideas. For example, as I've said, all of this information at the present time exists in multiple silos. If you have your own silo, what that means is that you are in a much better position to manage your own data. It gives you potentially control over the terms and conditions with which you share your personal information with third parties. And conceivably, it will then allow you to monetize your own data and share it with the parties that you wish. Now, this white paper can be downloaded from the MEF website. Now, I'm conscious that time is running away with us, so I will leave you to download that at your leisure. But in the meantime, we've got three of the CEOs and founders of the PIMS coming up. First, we have Katrina Dow. Now, Katrina's the founder and CEO of MECO. Now, prior to founding MECO in 2012, Katrina consulted in strategy and execution roles for startups and major corporate change major corporate change and implementation products. And she's held leadership positions and delivered projects across the UK, Europe, Asia, the US, and India. After Katrina, we have Benjamin Andre, who's the co-founder and CEO of Cozy Cloud. Now, back in 2006, Benjamin had a side project that aimed at gathering his financial data from several banks on a personal server, and quickly realized that he'd be able to connect this with bills from utilities and e-commerce sites. And this led to Cozy Cloud being founded, and it's since grown to 22 employees who work within a strong ecosystem, and it's recently raised 4 million euros from Innovacom and the MAIF. And lastly, we have Julian Ranger, who's the chairman and founder of DigiMe. He founded Stasis back in 1987, specializing in interoperability and the military internet. That was then purchased by Lockheed Martin in 2005. He left Lockheed in 2007 as Vice President International Strategic Development, and has since been an angel investor in more than 20 startups. He's the founder of DigiMe, which is enabling the Internet of Me, of which Julian will speak more. And lastly, he's also a Virgin Galactic future astronaut. I'm not sure if he's going to be talking on that. But on that note, I'd like to hand over, please, to Katrina. Thank you.